Alberta Jeanette Meyer was known as a trailblazer, role model, and tireless advocate for women's equality. Born in Arkansas and later settling in Jefferson City, she rose from a state office clerk to become the first permanent chairman of the Missouri State Commission on the Status of Women. Please listen to Alberta Jeanette Meyer.
Thank you. Well, hello.
Hello.
Are you all having a good day?
We are.
Good. Well, my name is Alberta Jeanette Meyer. I go by Alberta J because when I moved here from Arkansas, this was my first stop in Jefferson City, and there was already another Alberta Meyer, and we were getting each other's mail. I was born 1914 in Ashdown, Arkansas. I loved the small town experience. My father operated a women's clothing store, and my grandmother lived with us. We were the only Jewish family in this small town of 2,000, but we weren't very religious. However, I would stay home from school on the high holidays until late elementary school, when I realized that those other kids weren't staying home, and I told my mother I would not be staying home. I was a very good student. I graduated high school in only 3 years, and I was valedictorian. I have always enjoyed being in front of a crowd. I thought that I might be a comedian, or maybe just join the theater. So I attended Dodd College over in Shreveport, Louisiana. But then I had some hearing problems develop, and I had to give up on those dreams. About that same time, my father got ill, and we decided as a family to move back to St. Louis, where his family lived. Thankfully, he did recover. While my family never encouraged me to go to work, my uncle insisted I should not waste my life. I signed up for a comptometry course. I was no good at it. I love letters, but I'm no good at numbers. But my instructor, Lenore Kretzer, the future Congresswoman Lenore Sullivan, knew I would never get a job, so she helped me get a job with the St. Louis Office of the Employment Compensation. My first few months, I was in direct contact with the public, and I hated it. I was always worried I'd get something wrong because of my poor hearing. Then Jefferson City. They had an opening for a file clerk in the Employment Compensation Central Office with a big raise, but I'd never been to Jefferson City. I loved being a file clerk. You didn't meet people. You just took care of 3,000 accounts. I figured out everything there is to know about employment security. I did not love the discrimination. I was once told that a promotion I had earned was going to a man because he had a family. Another time, I was denied sick leave to care for my ill father in St. Louis, even though a man in the office had recently used sick leave himself to care for his ailing father. I boarded with Ruth Shelley's family on McCarty Street across from the National Cemetery. 3 months after arriving here in Jefferson City, Ruth and I became charter members of the Business and Professional Women's Chapter. I was in charge of the first Business Women's Week in 1941. We had dinner with the mayor and an on-air interview on KWOS. We supported canteen services and first aid during the war. Locally, we provided milk to the needy families and sponsored the first Girl Scout troop. I served as president of our BPW chapter in 1947 and 48, and in 1949 I was elected to district president. I also served 2 years as statewide president in 1954 and 55, and then in 1956 I spent a year in Washington, D.C. working in the national headquarters. One of my heroes was Eleanor Roosevelt. In 1961, President Kennedy appointed her the head of a federal commission on the status of women. When Governor Dalton followed suit in 1964, I was pleased to be appointed to the temporary committee. When the commission was made permanent by statute, I was its first chairman. Among other things, we were supposed to study to determine the legal status of women and to determine the equality or the inequality of opportunity afforded women in government, politics, education, business, the professions, sciences, arts, and social services. But we were allotted no state funding. We had to rely on donations for our printing and our postage. We also had no office space, so the commission's headquarters was a filing cabinet in the corner of my bedroom in my 2-room apartment down the street. The first booklet I worked on was the 1971 Legal Rights of Women in Missouri. Although I had my opinions, this was simply a book informing women of existing laws. Surprisingly, we received the strongest pushback from the few female legislators at the time. Next, on behalf of the commission, I compiled a list of qualified women for appointments to statewide commissions. Our first legislative success was to change jury service, which had set up a special privilege for women to decline service because of their gender. Our biggest tool was education through regional conferences and a quarterly newsletter, which I made. After 6 years as chairman, I stepped down, and I left the commission entirely when I was appointed as the first female executive director of the Highway Reciprocity Commission. We caused a lot of waves and caused a lot of struggle, and I'm proud of it. When I retired, I moved to Arizona for a time, but when I came back, I had a great opportunity. In addition to my theater and my women's rights interests, I have been a lifelong sports fan. As a resident at the Heisner Lutheran Homes, I was selected as the resident to throw out the first pitch at a Cardinals game to celebrate their 100th anniversary. I've tried to remind people, bringing about the full recognition of women as people cannot be legislated. Men must change many of their attitudes toward women. Women must be interested not only in their rights, but in their responsibilities. And I learned how to work the system. You don't have to know the top fella. You just have to know the woman in his office to get things done. It's the woman's change. Now, one of our greatest tools is education. Academics, of course, but also just simply sharing our stories as women, like this lovely tour you are on today. Academically, I would like to share with you about Zonta as a second chance scholarship that helps older women to advance themselves. We have some handouts here if you are interested, but I wanted to let you all know that some local authors have decided to write a book for next year that's gonna feature me and Miss Violet Ramsey, if you all visited with her, and I do believe you're going to meet Annie White Baxter a little bit later on. We will all be featured in that book, so please keep a lookout for that. That book will support that scholarship for young ladies. Thank you so much for visiting.